beloved. Welcome to my diary. I'm Tatami. To be honest, recently I found out that somebody I adore, really love, make excuses for all the time is just actually kind of a bad fucking person. They just fucking do shit that's bad. And I've got a lot of manic energy surrounding this situation, and some of it is, required, and some of it is just kind of me centering me. So I'm gonna go ahead and push a lot of this energy into something that doesn't really matter and hasn't since I was 18 years old. Harry Potter. Know that a lot of the energy I'm putting into this has nothing to do with this. It's just something that I also saw around the same time that I saw what I saw about what I saw. And I'm just trying to work through my life. But if you've ever had something like that happen where you just kind of had to admit finally, oh my God, I've waved on a couple red flags with this person just because they weren't involved with me in another way besides the deeply personal familial love that we have for some people in this earth. And so, yeah. Leave your advice if you've got anything to do with that. So at any rate, I was in the first grade when I got my first Harry Potter book. It was from my godmother. I remember this because I do remember years later that I had an edition of Harry Potter, the first book, that did not have a number. All my other Harry Potter books had a number. People would gift them to me. They'd give me sets. They'd gift me semi-sets. The first book that I got from my godmother, who lived in New Mexico, which I did visit at one point in my childhood, and I fucking loved it. It was just to explain the feeling of being a child in a lightning storm where the whole sky is purple and lightning is striking down on you at all corners of the desert is inexplicable. She gifted me my first Harry Potter book, and I never forgot that. I never forgot that that first book did not have a number because it was hers. By the time I was about 19-ish years old, I was fucking done with Harry Potter, but I had this weird sort of commitment thing that some of us who have read series over the course of our lifetime get. We just are let's just fucking finish it. Somehow I'm gonna read this fucking book. You know what I mean? That's how I was just kind of at by the time I was 18, 19 years old. And I do remember getting to this weird phase where I was really upset because I was feeling this weird, it was like the wall was being broken between fan fiction and real books. I didn't like the name Renesmee. Don't do that. Don't fucking blend names together. That's something we do in fan fiction because we're too nervous to add names to another author's works. You know what I'm saying? That's what we did. For example, if you're not familiar with fan fiction, how I remember it from when I was a kid, if Winnie the Pooh had a kid, their name would have been Piglet, Rabbit, Tigger, Christopher Robin. Because we didn't add names to people's works, you know what I'm saying? So by the time we got to books that were the baby's name was Renesmee, the kid's name was Albus Severus, I didn't like it. I was fuck you, stop doing this, stop. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Let there be a fucking line. Let there be a border between fan fiction and published works. I think I was alone because they didn't listen to my little rules and my little rule books. But that was as far as I got to hating it back when I was 18. Now I'm fucking 30. I'm a hater. I hate life. I hate people. I hate things. Let's get into it because I recently remembered that Harry Potter named his son Albus Severus Potter, the godson of Neville Longbottom, in case you thought there was another Neville. I don't know if there is. Okay, so in my honest opinion, Now as a mother looking back on some of this, I'm like, dude, you could have named Harry Umbridge or fucking Voldemort, and it would have been the same as naming his fucking son Severus. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. Don't name your kid after some fucking abuser. What is going on? Honestly, it started to seem like Severus got to do a few kind of bare minimum fucking things, and then he got to be just labeled a hero. No, your acts as an abuser are not erased because someone else was an abuser. Your acts as an abuser are not erased because you did a few good things after being chronically abusive for over a decade. Let me continue. We can forgive Severus Snape for things he did when he was a child. For example, calling Lily a mudblood or whatever I can't remember. Was she a half-blood? Was she a mudblood? I can't even remember. My point is I remember he called her a slur, and I can just be like, okay, when you're young, especially because of your parents, you can absolutely, I mean, shit. I remember being in the first grade and not getting fucking racism, but let's just say your parents were like crazy and you were kind of a bitch, and so you did shit like call people mudblood. I can forgive you. I can also forgive you if when you were 16, you called yourself the Half-Blood Prince and you started making up spells that would really hurt people, like circumspentra, it's been a long time since I read the books. The point is, he made up some spells. Harry used them. Oops, he did it again. It hurt some people. I can forgive Snape for that shit. I'm not here to be like, oh, I'm bringing up tweets from when they were 15 years old. I'm not that bad of an SJW, but I'm an SJW bitch. Let's continue. So, who cares if he made kids bleed out on the floor? I moved on from that. Okay, he abused Harry. Verbally, emotionally, mentally, and academically for years. How do we just forget that? How do we just pretend that's not a whole thing that happened? That's a whole thing that fucking happened. Okay? And all of this was because he was heartbroken over a high school crush. Like, everybody who's over 30 right now, think back to people in your high school. Try to name people, their first name, their last name, their hopes and wants and needs. You can't, bitch. Because high school is nothing. A lot of people who peak physically, emotionally, mentally in high school try to convince you high school is the end-all be-all. Bitch, no. Your 30s and 40s should be your end-all be-all. And if you're not doing that, you're not doing it correctly. This is absurd. Anybody coddling Snape because he was hanging on to his high school relationships is nuts. What the fuck are we even talking about? Let's continue. Why was he always trying to humble Harry's dad, trying to make his dad seem like a worse of a person even though his dad couldn't defend himself, and then also trying to humble Harry? Like, stop trying to humble teenagers. Like, some adults get off on humbling teenagers, and it weirds me out. I remember when I was a teen, it weirded me out, and as an adult, it even more weirds me out. You should have more things going for you than needing to take a teen down a few pegs to make sure they don't love themselves through their 20s. Like, get over yourself. Okay, number 2. Snape was actually, like, sexually obsessed with Harry's mom. That's creepy. That's weird. That's not acceptable. Do not name your child after somebody who was sexually obsessed with your mother, stalking, abusing, manipulating, gaslighting. Stop. He was not kind to your mother. He was not kind to your father. He was not kind to you. He does not deserve to have his name carried on. He was sexually obsessed with Harry's mom's eyes in particular, which was just absurd. He only stepped up when Lily was killed, not because he was the good guy, but because he really wanted to try to save Harry's mom, even though he was willing to kill Harry's dad and Harry himself. Let's be real. He even was so obsessed with Lily that he kept a ripped picture of her in his pocket. Keep in mind, wizards' pictures move around, and he had a picture where he tore Lily away from James and whoever else and kept that torn picture of a hostage Lily in his fucking pocket. What the fuck? Dude, not normal. Not normal. He bullied Neville. Now keep in mind, fucking Albus Severus Potter's godfather is Neville Longbottom. Harry chose Neville to do the actual physical and emotional labor of taking care of his child, but did not name his child after Neville Longbottom. He named it after Neville's main abuser from school this entire time. What the fuck? That's not normal. That's not normal. Not normal at all. And the fact that Neville is such a good guy that he'll stick around and call this kid Albus Severus, knowing he's named after a guy who abused him, knowing what his parents went through that entire time, knowing his parents went through that abuse, but then he abused him as well. Neville is a saint. A fucking saint. Anyways, so the kid's first name is the name of the person that the middle name killed. So Albus was killed by Severus, but somehow this kid is going to be burdened with the name Albus and Severus. How does this make sense? The same kid got burdened with the name of the hero and the killer who were to pretend is a hero. No, he's still a murderer. None of this would have happened if he was not out here lending the Dark Lord strength. Let's be real. Okay, so he also bullied Hermione. I know this isn't one of my points mainly, but while I'm saying he bullied Neville Longbottom, remember how Hermione got like those teeth and it was paining her physically, and then Snape was like, I don't see a fucking difference. Does she have fucking fangs that are biting into her lip? Oh, I don't see a difference. He was trying to say she got buck teeth. You don't see a fucking difference. Fuck him. The fact that you out here naming somebody after somebody who bullied not only a vague friend like Neville, but a close friend like Hermione? Give me a fucking break. The fucking Severus Snape has issues. Has issues. Okay. I also said the other reason, before I get into names, he should have named Harry's son. She should have named Harry's son. He also tried to get Harry and his dad killed, but Lily saved. He was totally willing for Harry to be brutally murdered as a baby, for Lily's baby to be killed. Like, people are always like, oh, murderers are always like, oh, in true crime, you always see this. Oh, like, I love them, but I killed them, or I killed their kid. No, bitch. If you loved me, you would never kill my kid. You would know how much those children mean to me. Like, they didn't ask to fucking be here. I brought them into this world. You better fucking respect that. Like, respect the fact that these children in this goddamn planet do not choose to be here. You will respect them and give them autonomy and love them. But that's not what fucking Severus Snape is. He's like, oh, well, but I still want to bone Lily. Can you leave her alive and fuck her kid and fuck the man that she decided to let produce a child with her? Fuck all of them. They can all die. An infant can die, but just let Lily. No, that's not a good person. Don't make him a hero by naming your son after him. Ginny, where were you during all this? I know. We can just blame J.K. Rowling because obviously none of these people are real. I'm putting my energy into something that doesn't matter. That's what we discussed. Okay, so people that should have had their kids, named after him. Cedric Diggory was the first on my list. His father forgave you instantly. He came out there, he cried over his son's fucking dead body. And Harry had multiple sons, and not one of them had Cedric or Diggory as part of their name. How, Sway? How? Not okay. His son died because of your antics with the Dark Lord. But, okay. Rubius Hagrid, bitch. Hagrid. I don't know. I don't watch this shit no more. It's the boy whose head hurt. That's what my daughters say. The boy whose head hurt. That's all she remembers him as. That's all I remember him as. But we're gonna continue. The boy whose head hurt. He took him shopping. He came to get Harry. He fought for him, and he made sure there was a safe spot in school for Harry to go to no matter what, because he knew Harry did not have a family. So whenever Harry needed some advice, that's who he went to. Hagrid. But none of his kids are named Rubius. Go figure. Go figure. Neville Longbottom, of course, obviously. Cedric, Rubius, Neville. Those are obvious. Am I crazy or am I crazy? That was Harry's greatest ally from book one. From book one. Because you could always sympathize with Neville in book one when he was like, dude, should we be doing this? I don't know. I don't want you guys to get in trouble. He didn't know what to do because you guys left him in the dark. But he did what he should have that whole time. He deserved all the points. He also deserved for his name to have been there instead of fucking Severus fucking Snape. Fred fucking Weasley. I'm mad. I'm barking orders at this point. Fred fucking Weasley. Fred fucking Weasley died for this bullshit with the Dark Lord, and he don't have a kid with a name in the first two. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Fred fucking Weasley should have had... Weasley or Fred should have been one of your kids' names for the second one. And then finally, Arthur Weasley, for letting you be a son in his house, for taking you in, for paying for some of your shit, for paying for some of your food. He couldn't afford some of it. He was too proud to ask. He was a kind man who had a couple too many kids. And my God, he was also... somebody who never abused Harry and stepped in as a father figure, but you're gonna act like Severus Snape was more of a father figure than Arthur fucking Weasley? Excuse me? Am I crazy? I don't like this shit. Finally, I'm gonna give a bonus. Draco should have had a fucking name after fucking Harry's son over fucking Severus Snape, because at least Draco was a kid when he was abusing you. At least Draco was a fucking kid abused and manipulated by his crazy Death Eater father. But you don't have the same excuse for Snape. Snape was just a bitch. Snape was just a bitch who was sexually obsessed with your mother, and you named a child after him. And honestly, like I said, I don't have an issue with Harry. This issue was with somebody in my family. I'm so fucking serious. Oh my God. Somebody in my family is a really bad person. And I'm super disappointed. I'm so disappointed. Oh, wait. Okay, good news. Somebody messaged me about my book, and it was my first time getting a message from somebody who, actually read my book and had something to say, and it affected their life in a positive way. And I'm holding on to that because, oh my God, you guys, somebody I really love let me down. Like, they let me down. And it wasn't me. I'm tired of focusing on me because it wasn't me they let down. They let down another human, but it was me because I've been holding them up and like coddling them for a long time. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads. And I'll see you next time. Please talk to me about Harry Potter or family that's let you down or anything that will take my attention. Because I feel so defeated. I feel so hurt. I feel so angry. I want to fight. I want to kill. I don't even know. I'm betrayed. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads. I'll see you next time.